Hi guys, how are you all doing today? Hope you're safe and well. I've come for a little bit of a walk again. This time I've come a bit further. I've actually got Vale Park behind me, which I went to the other day where you saw all the sculptures. I'm going to walk a bit further than this time. I'm trying to find some new content. Can't really go down on the beach today because the tide's completely in. So yeah, but gonna just take a bit further of a walk up towards New Brighton, give you a little bit of a history lesson along the way, and I hope you enjoy this little walk. Got a container ship in today. Wonder how many medical supplies are on board that ship. So yeah, back in the day, New Brighton was actually a very good seaside resort. We had a tower, we had a pier, massive fun fair, wooden roller coasters, miniature railways, all sorts of stuff. Oh, I've just noticed, look at these. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. People have knitted things to go on top of the railings. Yeah, as I was saying, so yeah, we have quite a lot of stuff down in New Brighton, but for some reason from the 60s and 70s we lost a lot, and yeah, we just went on a decline down in New Brighton. They have tried to revive it a little bit at the moment, but it's mainly full now with supermarkets, restaurants. We did have a casino, but that closed down. We're actually going to be losing more soon. Unfortunately, it's been decided that our arcades are going to be demolished and a hotel built there instead. So yeah, but I'll show you about what we used to have around here. So it might not look much now, but this patch of grass here actually used to have a miniature railway on it. Proper little miniature steam railway. I can show you a picture of that. And it used to just run along here, and obviously it was gone before my time. I don't even remember it, but it's a shame. It'd be nice for it to come back. So this area here is known as the Tower Grounds. The reason being is because we did used to have a tower which was taller than Blackpool Tower. It stood at 567 foot. It was completed and opened in 1898, but unfortunately after the First World War the place was becoming very dilapidated because it wasn't being maintained during the war. So the tower itself was actually pulled down in 1921, but the ballroom still remained. We've got some cannons made out of wood here. Buckingham Palace. I like that. These are all built by the guy that I was telling you about who did the pirate ship, and I can actually show you what is left of the pirate ship in a moment. What have we got here? A lot of people donate stuff as well. They can dump it here, ready for building. This is nice. I love this. I think with this amount of wood, the new Black Pearl is going to be absolutely huge. There seems to be plenty here. You can see where somebody's nailed them together. I wonder if that's pieces of the original Black Pearl that they found washed up or anything. And they're going to rebuild it. I'm glad they're going to rebuild it. See, these are pieces of the original Black Pearl with the ropes already around them. They were from the masts. More mast stuff there. Oh, and the treasure chest. We've even got a couple of flags. Well, one flag. Can't wait for it to get rebuilt, but it probably won't be until after the lockdown. And unfortunately, this is the Black Pearl as we see it today. So I hope it doesn't take too long to rebuild. So on this area here, we actually had the massive fair, and we had two wooden roller coasters here. One was the New Brighton Scenic Railway, which went into woods and things like that. Looked absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, never got to ride it because it was gone before I was even born. And the other one was a wooden figure of 8, which apparently, from what I've heard from a lot of people who have ridden it, was very rickety. It sounded like it was going to snap as you went over it, very creaky. So it sounds quite scary, so something I would love to ride. But even after the tower was demolished in 1921, the tower ballroom itself remained standing until unfortunately it burnt down in 1969. That's when the fair and everything went. Now unfortunately I can't show you because the tide's in, but where that red thing is in front of us and the way the area juts out into the water a little bit, there actually used to be a pier here. It was 600 foot long, and you can actually still see some remains of it today once the tide's out, of where it used to stand. And the Mersey ferry used to actually come up alongside there as well. There used to be a ferry terminus on the end of it. Unfortunately, after the tower went, people just stopped coming to New Brighton. The ferries weren't making any money, so they decided to actually leave in 1972, and the pier closed. And then unfortunately in 1977 the pier was unfortunately demolished. This building here, it's now apartments. Probably going back about 20 years ago. Yeah, it would have been 20 years ago actually. This was actually the Chelsea Reach nightclub, and I used to come here quite a lot when I was 16. They never used to ask for ID to get in. Probably one of the reasons why it closed down. And then this here is where the old Flora Pavilion Theatre used to be, but next to it you can just see that shaped roof. That's actually the new theatre, so we actually lost it to gain a new one, which isn't bad. So this is Fort Perch Rock, and was first opened in 1829, and it actually served all the way up until World War II. There was a munitions factory around here as well, which was in that blue building over there in the cellars. That is now the arcades. Funny enough, that's actually the arcades where I won the drone that I ended up crashing into the sea after about 5 minutes of flying. Still not happy about that. And then we've got the theatre here, the new Flora Pavilion Theatre. And then just behind the fort we have New Brighton Lighthouse, or its official name is Perch Rock Lighthouse. One of the lighthouses I haven't been in yet, and this was first lit in 1830, so a year after the fort was commissioned, and it's actually owned now by the same people as the fort. You can see inside of it if you look in YouTube. Some people have actually done some POVs inside it. I say POVs, I mean tours, but you know. So yeah. And here we have New Brighton Fair. And fortunately, I got to go here the week before the lockdown. So yeah, now I really wanted to come because the roller coaster that you can see, the Caterpillar ride just there, is actually new for 2020, replacing the Wallace's Wonderful Whirl Wacky Worm, whatever it was called. So I wanted to get that, so that was a new credit for me. But I mean, this is the Easter holidays now. This would be open and it would be absolutely chocker right now. So it's sad to see everything's all on lockdown and closed. But yeah, we've got the Scrambler over there. That Scrambler actually came from Blackpool Pleasure Beach, so you may have already ridden it if you haven't been here. And we've got the Walters over at the back, the American Show, Funhouse. They did used to have a really good Miami here as well, but that went a couple of years ago, which I was actually quite gutted about. It was actually where the American Show is there, and the American Show used to be here. And usually there's some trampolines here as well, but they've obviously been taken down. And over here we've got our bowling alley. Again, it's closed. We've also got a laser quest in here. There's something like 5 pool tables, arcades, everything in this building. Yeah, all closed. What would normally be very, very busy right now. So over here you can see we've got the Light Cinema, we've got ice cream parlours, there's a Travelodge hotel over there, a Morrison's supermarket. This is all quite a new development, and probably within the last 10 years that was all built. And years and years ago, probably the late 80s, there was a open air swimming baths in that area, which I used to come swimming in. I remember coming a couple of times. The water was absolutely freezing. Unfortunately it got destroyed by the storms, and it was demolished, and it was just waste ground for a very long time until this was all built. Well, it's Easter holidays and it's not open like the sign says. But we've got one business staying open and two businesses. Here's an interesting fact which I actually completely forgot about until I saw this again. Why is there a dog statue? Well, it's because the very first guide dog came from New Brighton. Right, so the tide is actually going out, so I'm going to see if I can try and take a little walk on the beach. I may even be able to show you where the pier used to be and show you how you can tell where it was. Quite a nice beach this. Gets very full during the summer. In fact, it'd probably be very full now if it wasn't on lockdown. See where the dog's been. Used to come down here a lot as a kid, build my sandcastles and collect the shells. Used to spell things with the shells and used to get as close to the water as I could to try and build a moat and get all the water into the moat. Yeah, it's a nice beach. It's not the biggest. I mean, actually the other side of the fort and that, there's a huge beach. You can get right up to the lighthouse and things like that. Yeah, we'll have a look along here, see what we can find. So back in the 60s, if I was stood here right now, I would be right underneath the pier. This is actually where one of the supports was put into the ground, and there's three in a line here. There's one there and one a little bit further, and then if you walk this way, you can see more. See, there's another one. So the metal supports would actually be embedded into the ground here, and you can actually see now, here's the remnants of some of those supports that have been cut off. You can follow them right out. And then same there, you see one in the pool there, the iron support sticking up out of the water. Let's see what else we can find. If we follow it in a straight line, we should be able to see more. There we go, there's another one there. So we are actually directly underneath where the pier used to be. There's another one there. And then the Mersey ferry used to come into here, dock at the end, and take its passengers over to Liverpool. Another container ship coming in there. Also next to where the pier used to be, you might notice this. If you follow it round, completely man-made. and also back in the 60s this was actually a boating lake. The boats would be parked up in this part here, and you would have pedal boats or little rowing boats, and as the tide went out, this was a big lake. It's still working, to be honest. I mean, it is, you know, sort of damaged, could be repaired, I suppose, but yeah, so you used to be able to hire a boat and go around this little lake, and then there was a smaller one just the other side as well for the kids, for the younger kids. Another pier support hidden under the water. I'll tell you one thing as well, in the summer if you come down here, these pools are full of shrimp. Used to come down with a bucket and a net, used to catch as many as we could and put them into the bucket. We wouldn't eat them or anything like that, we'd let them go, obviously we were kids, but it was just great having them all in the bucket. Something different than catching crabs, I suppose. So there's where another one was. There's another one there. You see all these round holes in the rock where they used to be. One there. I kind of think of it, when you look at these, it's almost like you can follow the tracks of it, just like you can when a roller coaster's been removed. Particularly if you go to Southport and you can see where the traumatizer used to be, and you can see the old foundations for it. That one there's still got a bit of metal in it, by the looks of it. You can see that lake a little bit better now as well. The tide is going up pretty quick. You can see the old boating lake there. I wish they would repair it and actually use it. And somebody was actually going to do it, but the council said it cost something like £20,000 to do a risk assessment on it, so they decided not to. But it'd be great if a group of people actually just came down without the council's consent and actually repaired it. It wouldn't even take that long to do. Just build up the wall slightly, get the silt out, put a couple of boats on it. You know, wouldn't take much at all. So this is about as much of a pier that we have now, and right above me here is that concrete building you may have seen a bit further on in the vlog. If not, I'll just show you anyway in a moment. All it is basically it's just the sewage works, like a treatment, United Utilities. But yeah, this is a nice little bit to shade from the sun or whatever if you come down on the beach and get a bit too hot. So guys, I want to just talk a little bit about these rules at the moment. Now, a lot of people have been flouting these rules, Now, a few people have been asking why I hadn't done any vlogs for a while, and now all of a sudden I'm back, sort of thing. But I can tell you, I mean, last year, well, a little bit earlier than last year, I became quite ill, and I had to have an operation. So this meant that I couldn't ride roller coasters and things like that at the time, due to recovery. I'm not going to say what was wrong with me, but then not long after the operation, I ended up suffering with depression. My mental health was pretty bad at the time, so yeah, I felt not really wanting to be in places. And to be honest, even last year, I mean, I did a couple of vlogs. I went to Blackpool Pleasure Beach and I went to Thorpe Park for the Fright Night, but I'll be honest, I didn't actually want to be there. I'd lost all motivation, but then, you know, eventually I started getting out and about and I started feeling better for myself. And this is what I want to sort of lead on to, is because people flouting the rules at the moment. These are hard times enough as it is, and the government are talking about toughening the regulations and going on an even harder lockdown, where I won't even be able to do this sort of thing. Now, I've seen videos on YouTube and I'm absolutely disgusted that people are abusing the police. They're abusing the rules. They're acting hard. They think, oh, I'm not gonna bother, you know, listening to anybody else. Guys, if these rules get any tougher and people like myself can't get out and about and do this sort of thing, it's going to affect more people's mental health. I'd go crazy if I was stuck indoors. These things are actually doing me the world of good. Who knows what would happen if I was told I could not go out. End of. I mean, I can go to work, that's about it. It's hard enough that we can't see our families and our friends and our loved ones. People need to start listening to the rules, because it's not just me. There are millions of people in this country right now suffering with mental health, and it's only getting worse because of the restrictions that are in place at the moment. Please listen to what you're being told and obey the rules, you know, because if it gets worse, people have already committed suicide, you know. So yeah, this isn't really the discussion, this isn't my question or anything like that for this vlog. It's just the way I feel about it. Yeah, you know, the sooner we get this over and done with, the better. The rules are in place for a reason. It's only going to go on for longer if people don't obey the rules. So, you know, people need to stop being selfish and, you know, think of other people, not just themselves. It's tough on everyone. You're not hard if you go out and abuse the police and go, oh, I know my rights and this, that and the other. No. What about everyone else's rights to stay healthy? What about everyone else's rights to be allowed to go out? Because you're going to stop that. So, you know, people need to grow up, act their age. Yeah, I suppose you could say it's a rant. Yeah, but sorry for those of you obviously who are obeying the rules, but yeah, it's not on. So yeah, so now the tide's gone out a little bit more. we can actually see the other side, the smaller part of this Boaton Lake. Now, I'm not 100% sure actually if it was a Boaton Lake on this side or whether it was a paddling pool, but either way, it's, you know, it's the same construction. Now, this just shows one of the repairs that need doing. So obviously you can see the water is actually starting to drain out, and you can actually see it gushing here. It's like a waterfall. Okay guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to end the vlog here at the Black Pearl. So the question for today. Now, I've used YouTube for quite a lot of stuff, not just entertainment, but as a tool basically, to teach me how to do things that I've never done before. Even things like changing a light bulb on the car. Now, the latest thing that I've learnt how to do is to sort out the brake, the handbrake cable on my car. So is there anything that you've used YouTube for, that you've learned how to do something by watching it? It might be a recipe, or working on a car, or, you know, taking something apart and putting it back together, anything like that. If you have, let me know down below, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, stay safe, and bye for now.